was to start putting in these instrument bases. That's what I call them, the bottom of the floor, if you will, for the instrument panels. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the prints show the back seat, the pilot seat instrument floor is a little bit thinner than the passenger instrument. So that shelf that you see on the front, according to the plan, is wider than the one in the back. But something that I'll get into later, I used a angled instrument panel, as well as the seat back for the passenger seat is also angled. So I was going to lose a little bit of space there for the instruments, so I went ahead and made this the back seat, or the pilot seat instrument shelf, the same width as the passenger. Again, on the plans they show them two different sizes, but I chose whichever size was the widest and made them both the same. And then here's another a little bit of a different angle. You can see the two instrument shelves up toward the front, and then I've also started to fit the cross members, the diagonals that you can see here. There's one, well, I don't know how easy it's going to be to see, but there's a diagonal just behind the pilot seat, and then there's this other diagonal here, which is pretty much the main focus of this picture. Now, these cross members are 1 inch in one dimension, and I think they vary between like 1/2 and 3/4 in the other dimension. A lot of people will lay these diagonals down, so to speak. They'll lay them more flat when they put them in. I chose to have my diagonal stand upright, so the 1 inch dimension of the diagonal pieces, as well as the other cross members, the 1 inch dimension on the diagonals mates with the 1 inch dimension on the fuselage longerons. So my cross members and my diagonals, they stand upright. The longest dimension, that 1 inch dimension, is always top to bottom, and it fits a lot better, I think, with the other fuselage members. So it's a matter of preference. I'm not sure that the plans call it out one way or the other, but that's the way that I chose to do mine. And then this picture here is just yet again another zoomed out picture. Again, you can see the fuselage going together, the floor is in, the instrument shelves are in, and I'm starting to put in the cross members along the top. Now, another change that I had done on the very front of the fuselage, on these side pieces, the sides of the fuselage, over where the on the plans for the Model A Ford, they have these larger sheets of plywood that go from the firewall. They go on the top of the fuselage from the firewall back. I don't even know how far, maybe like 16 inches or so. I did not use those because I am not using a Model A Ford for my airplane. So that shelf that's shown on the plans at the very front of the fuselage, I will not be using. So instead, I went ahead and added this big white ash piece in a location that made sense for me. I'm going to be hanging my fuel tank in the front of this airplane, and this ash piece that you see here going from the left side to the right side is that's going to support some of the fuel tank. So you can see here in this picture that piece of plywood that's shown on the plans going from the front back toward the first instrument shelf there, I am not using. This is a change that I decided to make because I'm going to have my fuel tank up front. I will not have a wing tank, and I am not going to be using the Model A Ford. And then next, this picture here is some extra reinforcement I was putting in, because from the back of the pilot seat back to the first bulkhead, that's all going to be storage. The plans show it as a helmet storage area, but I'm going to make mine quite large, and it's going to go back to the first bulkhead. I'll explain more of this in the video clips. But this is just some extra bracing that I added that it's not shown on the plans anywhere. It's just something that I decided to do. And you can kind of see here what I was talking about with having these cross members standing upright as opposed to laying flat, because I think they mate better, especially when you go to put your gussets on.
Hey everybody, just wanted to say real quick again, thanks for checking out my YouTube videos, and just a couple of real quick tidbits before you leave. If you'd be so kind as to check out my GoFundMe page, the link is down in the description of these videos. For those of you who find it in your heart to donate for this new cause of mine, I've got another project going on, and there's some really cool things I'd like to do with this aircraft, and again, that's all explained in my GoFundMe. But if you find moved enough to go do that and donate, I've got this horizontal stabilizer skin, and donors will get their name put on this skin, and ultimately when this gets filled and the aircraft gets finished, this is going to be hung up on the wall of honor in my hangar. Just a little bit of recognition for those donors who helped make the project a reality. Another thing too is, I'm sure you've noticed that even this video that I'm making right now is of the same or worse quality than the video that you just watched, and that's because, believe it or not, this camera is the exact same camera that I filmed the original hint videos with. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not really sure why, but I know the video quality lacks, but hopefully the information within is worth something. And the other thing that I wanted to mention real quick is, again, these are little snippets from my hint video DVDs, so a lot of these individual clips just kind of come to an abrupt end. That's just the way it is when I'm trying to rip these DVDs apart and re-edit them into small little segments, and they just kind of end weird at times. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And again, thanks, and I hope you'll come back, check out my channel, and see if there are any new videos and updates. All right, I'll talk to you then. See you.